Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
There will be a brief ad at the end of this video. Now, Karen sent me notes that Steve Chuck at the story from the New York Times. I'd not seen this, and this is a topic that fascinates me. A Pennsylvania shop offered tarot readings, and then the police came and suggested it was illegal to do so. The police chief in Hanover visited the shop to educate its owner about an archaic state law that prohibits fortune telling. Now, Christine Hauser wrote this and referred to the law as archaic. Archaic implies it is old and outdated. And the question is, I mean, it's old, no question about that, but is it outdated? Should there really not be a law forbidding fortune telling for money? And there's a debate about that. We'll get to that in a second. A few days after the owner was profiled in a business newsletter about the tarot card readings they offered at their shop in Hanover, the police chief dropped by for a visit, but not to have his fortune told. Instead, the chief informed the owner at the witchcraft-themed store on October 5th that any complaints about readings would lead to an investigation, citing an archaic state law that makes it illegal to predict the future for money. So, first of all, he didn't say that he had gotten any complaints, but he said if he gets any, it's going to lead to an investigation because there is this law on the books. It's illegal to predict the future for money. Now, that implies that it's not illegal to predict the future for free. The hard part, of course, is predicting the future. But the owner says he informed me basically he's not here to arrest me or press charges. The owner's 26 years old and was speaking in a telephone interview and said regarding the chief, however, if he ever gets a report from anyone, he'll be back on my doorstep. Now, the owner of the shop moved to Hanover about 4 years ago, opened the shop this year, and offers a menu of tarot card readings which cost $10 to $100, either in person or over Zoom. Now, here's the thing. Signs are posted saying the services are for entertainment purposes only. However, you can also buy candles, soaps, and other handmade merchandise in the store. Shop was profiled in the October spooky season issue of Main Street Hanover, a monthly newsletter that introduces a new business owner in the borough, which is not far from the border with Maryland. The shop, as the name suggests, is meant to be a sanctuary for anyone looking to connect with their spirituality on a deeper level, the article said. A few days after the article was published, the owner was informed by borough officials that the police chief had read it and was going to stop by. So word is getting out. Cheese it, the fuzz. Okay. So the owner described the ordeal to her followers on a series of TikTok videos. She's got apparently a couple 100,000 followers, including one in which the owner put on protective jewelry and a black structured blazer reminiscent of raven's wings to prepare for the visit. The structured blazer, of course, is a nice touch. The owner said the visit from Chief Martin and another officer was intimidating. It was. Basically, he didn't give me any advice or anything, adding that the message was, hey, just so you know, this is the law. And which, by the way, it's always intimidating when the cops show up and say, we need to speak to you about something, or so I'm told. However, it's a joke. However, when the police officer goes, just to let you know, this is the law. Some people might look at that and go, that's actually nice of the cop to give you a warning. Because the police officer could simply send in an undercover person and go, what do I get for $20? I'll tell your future. Boom, you're under arrest. So, you'd have to wait until they actually predicted some. So the owner says he didn't give me any advice or anything. The message was, hey, just so you know, this is the law. The Hanover Police Department said on Friday that the chief was not available to comment. News of his appearance at the shop was reported by the Philadelphia Inquirer and widely shared on social media, fueling questions about the use of taxpayer money, what constitutes a good use of police time, and whether the visit amounted to a suppression of religious freedom. The question is, though, if she says this is for entertainment purposes only, is it a religion? So the chief defended the visit in a post on Facebook and referred to the law, Title 18, Section 7104, which says it is a misdemeanor to pretend for gain or lucre, to tell fortunes or predict future events by cards, tokens, the inspection of the head or hands of any person, or by the age of anyone, or by consulting the movements of the heavenly bodies, astrology. And by the way, the hand and palm reading is still very popular. There used to be a whole science of phrenology, studying the bumps in the shape of your head. That's kind of gone by the wayside, but that was probably a thing back then. And the word lucre, L-U-C-R-E, is the root or the base that becomes the word lucrative, which is a more common word in our language. We don't use lucre that much anymore. But lucre implies ill-gotten gains. And so in the oath that you take to become an attorney, you actually swear that you will not, in essence, work for lucre. And they're saying basically that you're not just working to get money, you're doing it for stuff that's justifiable and righteous. So the law says that you cannot pretend to tell fortunes or predict future events. There will be some people in the audience who are going to say, Steve, there are people who can tell the future. And if you believe that, that's fine. You're allowed to believe anything you want to believe. In his statement, the chief said there was never an investigation, nor was there any threat of arrest in the matter. The department would be obligated to investigate, he said, if a complaint was made against someone for engaging in acts qualifying as fortune telling. So he's saying, look, no one's filed a complaint. But if someone complains, I've got to investigate. Because remember, he took an oath also. The sheriff took an oath to enforce the laws. So if there's a law on the books that is so old and outdated that it should not be there anymore, actually, the legislature should go in and remove it. They remove old laws all the time or overwrite them. So that's something that could be done. So he suggested, contact your legislature. Meanwhile, the owner has studied tarot and witchcraft for 13 years, said tarot readings are meant to help a person by giving clarity about their path in life. They do not tell a person what is in store for them, such as whether they will win money or reveal the whereabouts of missing loved ones, they said. I pull my cards and study the symbols. My job is to string these things together of what I'm seeing. It is up to their free will. There's nothing set in stone. I am 26. I don't know the answers. And I like the fact that she said that. And, so local news organizations have poked fun at the statute. In 2022, WHTM-TV included it in a list of laws that residents might consider antiquated, useless, or just plain silly, such as, and this is an example they give, catching a fish with one's bare hands or buying a car on a Sunday. There were what they call blue laws. For years, there was a bunch of stuff you couldn't do on a Sunday. There was quite commonly a law against buying alcohol on a Sunday. And then later they said you can't buy alcohol on a Sunday before noon. And then they said, screw it. And there also, in Michigan for years, you couldn't buy cars on Saturday or Sunday. That was more of a protectionist thing, but we'll get into that later. But catching a fish with one's bare hands right now, there's a small section of the audience that goes, that makes complete sense. And it's men who fish and women who fish who understand the laws and regulations of fishing, because they do regulate how you catch fish. If there's no regulations of how you catch fish, you'd go get hand grenades and do it that way, which is actually a really, really easy way to fish. Now, you can't pick what you catch. You simply drop it and just, after it goes off, see what floats to the surface. So they've got to regulate how you fish. So believe it or not, there are some places where you can spear fish in Michigan, but you got to be certain kinds of fish in certain places. But you can't go out and spear fish for trout, I don't think. And so they actually regulate how you fish. Because if they didn't, people would just wipe out all the fish. You might say, but Steve, are you telling me that if you were allowed to catch them with your bare hands? No, the point is they simply say to catch a fish legally, you must do it with a hook. If it's this kind of fish during this season with this kind of license. Oh, you want to go fishing for these certain kind of fish that are seen in this lake during this one time of the year? Yeah, we'll allow you to spear fish. But the fish you spear has got to be over a certain size. Here's your limit. Got to get a license, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So they regulate that. Makes complete sense. So in 2019, the York Daily Record included this statute in a roundup of wacky laws, noting that it also prohibited making love potions and drawing maps to buried treasure, presumably where you made up the treasure. Obviously, if there was a treasure there and I drew up a map to it, I can't imagine that hurts anybody, right? The law barring fortune telling is rarely prosecuted, according to the daily local news reports, in a 2021 article about a Philadelphia woman who pleaded guilty to 4 counts of fortune telling and was sentenced to 14 days to a year in jail. A lawyer in Pennsylvania said that fortune telling businesses in the state use disclaimers that their services are for entertainment purposes only. The law protects gullible people from being ripped off, he said. Even as they bristled at the chief's visit, the owner of the shop acknowledged that the law had a purpose. It is there to protect people from scam artists. And I remember a couple of years ago, I don't know if the video's still up or not, but I did a video about a fortune teller down in Florida. And she would meet people who believed that she had some kind of pipeline to spirits and could control things and future events and all kinds of things. And she would tell people that, oh, there's somebody else out there who's hired a competing fortune teller and has cast a spell on you. And you're going to have bad luck and bad things will happen to you unless you pay me a lot of money to cast the counter spell. And just weird stuff like that. And there are people who believe in this stuff. And so next thing you know, someone just says, yeah, my aunt, my uncle, just drained their bank account to pay a fortune teller to counter a spell cast by a what? Really? Yes, it turns out there are actually people out there who believe in this stuff. Now, the real question is, if I walk in off the street, don't say anything, just walking off the street, say, hi, $50, what do I get? Will they say this is simply entertainment, or will it be couched as if it's real? And the reason I'm asking this is right around the time I became an attorney, where I was living, on my way into my office, I passed by a little building, and it's not there anymore, but it was there for decades. And it was a fortune teller who lived there. It was a house on the edge of an area that was zoned business. And I think the person lived in the house and then just turned the lights on, and then people would walk up the door and come inside and get their fortunes told. And it actually had a bunch of things outside about a fortune teller and, could tell your future and stuff. And at the time, I spent a lot of time litigating with a law called the Michigan Consumer Protection Act. And if you pay for goods and services, you're entitled to get what you pay for. And so if I go to a fortune teller and the fortune teller claims, and I'm not talking about the one in the story, I'm talking about the one I'm here in Michigan as a hypothetical. If the fortune teller had claimed, I can predict your future, pay me $50. If I pay her $50 and she's wrong, didn't she violate the Consumer Protection Act for failure to provide a promised benefit? And I would have argued that she did. Now, of course, her attorney would say, no, this is for entertainment purposes only. And the question is, where did that come in? In other words, is that on a sign on the wall? Because it didn't say that outside the building. I never went in. I just was always, this is like a thought exercise for me, right? And so I'm really curious to know, and I'm not talking about, again, the person in the story here, but just generally speaking, if I walk into a fortune teller who's got an established place of business so that they actually have got to watch it a little bit, and I walk in and I don't say a lot, but I just put some money down and go, what do I get? They, tarot card reading. Okay, I'm going to play stupid here. I know that a tarot card is a deck of cards, but they're not like regular cards. What does this do? Explain to me what's happening here. And if that person just says, oh, this is entertaining, I'm going to put some cards down and just tell you some funny things. Okay, that's fine. But if the person puts down cards and says, oh, you understand you need to do this but not do this but not do this, and never says this is for entertainment purposes only, what is that? What is that? So again, I know a lot of people, a vast majority of people in my audience right now are going, Steve, anybody who falls this deserves to fall for it. And on some level, I kind of agree. But unfortunately, I've met people who actually tell me, I know somebody who can predict the future. I know somebody who can. And I always say, then why do they charge you $20 a reading? Why don't they just go buy lottery tickets? Oh, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work. What's it? It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Of course it doesn't. It only works when you hand them $20. So, there you go. A Pennsylvania shop offered tarot card readings. Then the police came, but they didn't shut the operator down. They just warned her there is a law on the books. We're just letting you know that. And so maybe the operator needs to put up a bigger sign that says entertainment purposes only, and see how that goes. Karen, thanks for sending it from the New York Times. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye. I said at the top there'd be a brief ad at the end of the video. Here we are. And I'm talking to you, of course, about Factor. Factor, the food delivery service. They're a subscription-based meal delivery service, and they provide delicious and dietitian-designed meals. The meals are good, and they're good for you, and they're easy to prepare. That's the thing. So, I hate to admit this, but the number one thing that keeps me from eating well, at least in the old days, was I would be busy doing stuff, and I'd think, I could eat, but I can't take a half hour out of my life right now. Couple minutes? Yes. Half hour? No. And so Factor solves that problem. So while I'm talking now, I'm running a video in the corner to show you the most recent box I got, carried it in, put it on the kitchen table, and from when I broke out the knife to cut it open to when I was eating was less than 5 minutes. There's a brief cut as I move the camera, but otherwise it's real time. And that's the point, is you get the box, you open it up, your meals are in there, you pick one, you throw the rest in the fridge, and 2 minutes later, 2 minutes later, this is the kind of promise that they told us about back when they're talking about everybody will have flying cars and jetpacks. And someday you'll have good meals that take 2 minutes to prepare. Oh, no. We'll have jetpacks long before that. So here's the thing. I, as you may guess, am actually kind of busy. I'm a lawyer, I run a channel on YouTube, and I write books. And I also have hobbies and other things I do. I mean, I'm a quite busy person. And the number one thing that kept me from eating properly is I would be doing something, I'd look at the clock and go, it's past lunchtime, what happened? And I go, well, I haven't got time yet. And I'd put it off. Next thing I'm starving and it's dinner time. And so I quite often skipped meals or ate on the run. And of course, that's never fun and it's usually not good for you. So the key here is these meals are delicious and they're dietitian designed. And 2 minutes, take it out, poke a couple holes in, throw it in the microwave. 2 minutes later, you're eating. And it's good stuff. And by the way, I saved the wrappers from every single meal from the most recent box I got. And I like to point this out because this is stuff I would never eat in real life unless it's at a restaurant. Jalapeno lime cheddar chicken. That one was good. I like that one a lot. Spinach and mushroom chicken thighs. That's good too. Queso fundido. Very, very good. And again, something I never would have made myself. Black pepper and sage pork chop. That was good. I like that one a lot. Loaded bacon shredded chicken. And again, you could go to the store and buy yourself all those fixins and make it yourself. But trust me, it's going to take longer than 2 minutes. That's the crazy part about the equation. And creamy Parmesan chicken. So that's the 6 meals that I got out of my most recent box. And when you go to their website, and again, that's on the screen, and it's also in the first description below the video in the first comment. You go there, number one, you can get half off. First of all, use the code, get half off. Second of all, you can select what meals you want and which plans you want. They got veggie, they've got keto, whatever you want, pick one, okay? They come up with different meals all the time, so you're not getting the same stuff over and over again, but it is an extremely good assortment. So the Factor meals are designed by chefs and or dietitians. So not only are they delicious, they're nutritious, and there are 34 or more weekly flavor-packed, fresh, never frozen meals to choose from. So you can actually go through and pick like a menu and say, here's the meals I want. Or you can do what I do, and I just say, send me what you want, just mix it up, because I like the variety. And I've been getting varieties that I've enjoyed. So it's an amazing thing because it seems like cheating. It almost seems like cheating because, like I said, I'm so busy doing all kinds of stuff, running around, trying to get stuff done, trying to accomplish stuff. And now I can actually slide in a good meal. And, it takes 2 minutes to cook, and you eat it in a couple minutes. But even so, your lunch break, if you want to, can be 10 minutes. That's literally going to the kitchen, picking which meal you want, taking off the cover, which, poking holes in the plastic, putting it in the microwave, waiting 2 minutes, pulling it out, peeling the plastic off, putting it down and eating it. About 5 minutes. But the key here is 2 minutes to cook every single one. And that's the kind of thing that blows my mind. Because when I first heard the idea of a meal delivery service, I thought, okay, so there's instructions you got to follow and you got to figure this stuff. No. 2 minutes. And that's exactly how I like things. I like things where somebody goes, here's all you got to do. It's cut and dry. Do it and it works. And that's the key here. So I wouldn't be promoting this if I didn't believe in the product, and also if these things about it weren't true, because that's the key. It's good food delivered to you that you can make in 2 minutes and you will enjoy. And I've gotten a lot of feedback from people over the few months I've been talking about Factor, and the people in my audience who've tried it love it, love it. So I would encourage you to go visit their website. It's I've been on the screen a couple times, and also below the video, and check out their stuff. You'll get half off your first order if you follow the instructions on the screen. And it's, like I said, it's an amazing thing. You'll discover that it will make your life simpler and more efficient, because you can stop worrying about lunch or dinner and go, oh, I know what I'm going to do today. Factor. And 2 minutes later, you're eating. And that's the crazy part. So there you go. Check it out. Of course, it's factor75.com. And if you use the discount code on the screen or down below, you'll get half off.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. There must be a reason why they call them yacht brokers. May have to do with the amount of money left over after you buy one.